The Call Me Successful podcast, Connect series brought to you by Sell By Legal.
Rochelle Adgo, welcome to the Call Me Successful podcast.
Thank you.
It's good to have you here. I appreciate, dropping everything to come and be a part of this production. So a lot of people, you were saying earlier, you haven't been on a podcast before, so I'm sure we've got a lot of questions to ask you then. There's a lot of things we'd love to hear. We keep seeing Ray White Michelson and all the awards, winning everything, all the volume, you name it. So I'd love to know firstly, how are you going managing your team and handling such volume firstly? How's that going?
Yeah, so look, we do have a very different model to the norm. Yes, we are Ray White Michelson, but Ray White Michelson is actually one agent, and that is myself. And then I have a very strong backbone behind me, which is divvied up into client services. Then I've got stock in and stock out team members and very specific roles that come from that. But I'm the only one that lists and puts deals together as well. So a very different model than the sort of the office environment.
Yeah. Will that stay like that, do you think?
I think so.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I think so. We are a one agent model. I don't have time at this stage to be running a big office. But, never say never. We may pivot down the track. I've got an incredible business coach and mentor, Martin Millard, who is, a renowned industry leader that works very closely with our team and is now the principal of Ray White Michelson. But I've also got some very skilled people within my team that may decide that in time they want to step up into being an agent, and I may end up taking that opportunity to step back and just, enjoy seeing others succeed and create a little bit of legacy.
Love it.
There as well.
How long is it taking you to get to this point? Can you describe the journey?
Great question. Yeah. So I actually moved from New Zealand 13 years ago. I've been in the real estate industry for 9 years. Started with a company franchise that was based in Townsville in the Ashgrove office, which I then left. I was then, on the market, but I wasn't really a known agent. I'd only been in the industry for about a year and a half, not even. And met Martin Millard, who headed Harcourt Solutions at the time, and decided to base myself at his Mitchelton office. And then our relationship grew from there through some very simple words. I believe in you. I'm not sure where I fitted into the industry at the time. And we've worked incredibly well together, and we now, like I say, he's now actually come to Ray White.
Yep. Good move.
And and that that little yellow box has become extremely powerful.
Have you noticed an increase? What have you noticed, I should say, from the move?
Just so much more support. I think the power of that yellow box. It's a bit like McDonald's, it's a bit like Coke, it's very process driven, and I'm very much about process. There's a lot of talk out there about how does Rochelle actually do the volume that I do, and it's purely process driven. Yeah,
okay. What does that look like? Do you mind sort of scaling that back?
Yeah, so, there's different parts in the real estate journey. In different paths, whether you're a buyer or whether you're a seller or a vendor. I train my team on some really important words. We're humans first, we're real estate agents second. We're all about helping people. We don't do cold prospecting, for instance. We have layers of marketing that come into profile. Obviously, there's some AI things that are getting built at the moment as well. But very blessed, but very process driven. So, client services team, a very, very strong buyer team. I can't do everything. Just to put that into perspective too, with the volume that we're dealing with, the average agent, and this is a realestate.com stat that came across my desk the other day, a realestate.com stat where the average agents are getting 569 buyer inquiries over 12 months through realestate.com. We're getting 10,471. I can't do that on my own. In fact, agents that don't have teams, I think, are going to struggle down the track to be able to give the level of service that we need to be giving to our seller, but also the respect and the non-transactional outcomes that we need to be giving our buyers, for instance, and not just sitting there waiting for the phones to ring, but educating our buyers, which I believe we have a duty of care to do. And our sellers, that's why they're employing us.
Do you find that business just creates more business. Are you at that point now where you are becoming an attraction agency? People are seeing the signboards everywhere and they're reaching out to you?
Yes, the gratefulness that I have, and I never thought I would be in this position, but the gratefulness that I have every day is waking up and deciding who do I want to work with. I don't need to be that agent that goes and overflates price just to get the business. Don't need to see my name on another signboard. We stay humble. We get a lot of referrals through the door as well, where people, talk about us because I've had a great experience to their friends and family. And, it starts at the base level with having a superior team that has different skill qualities, which makes up, I believe, the success of this business. I'm nothing without my team.
Yeah.
I can't do it on my own.
It's amazing. So have you found that over time that your confidence in a listing presentation, or maybe even how you present, has changed, knowing that you're true to your word, you know that you've got your processes and everything, and by working with Rochelle, it means you're going to sell your house for a good price. It means it's going to work. You've got 100 and how many sales this year? 150 plus?
Yeah, 150 plus sales. I think that, again, comes back to process, practicing your listing presentation, pivoting as and when required. But I don't feel like I go into a home now and present.
Yep.
Does that make sense? That to me feels very show pony, very unhuman. I like to go in and talk about, what does the transition look like, and how can we move you in the safest way possible?
Yeah. It's very human. What are your problems and how can I help you solve that?
Problems? What are my problems? I don't think I'm extremely blessed.
Yeah.
I'll delegate, I'll pivot as and when required. Struggles are probably more personally than, and look, I'd love to have a chef.
Oh, yeah.
I don't have to go home and cook at night.
Yeah, I agree.
I'd love to, have someone do all those little things for me. But I stay humble at the end of the day and love seeing myself reach new heights, but also surround myself with a team and enjoy seeing them grow as well.
Can I peel back a little bit into your saying you have layers of marketing? So my marketing guy, I love it. I think marketing for us is Ray White AKG is a huge push. It's digital media, it's our designs, it's advertising, it's saturation essentially. It's like how do we create saturation but keep attention? Can you tell us about your marketing efforts? What works, what doesn't? I know you're big on open homes in terms of finding sellers. What's your marketing look like?
We don't do a huge amount. I personally don't do anything on socials. So I try and stay off social media just purely from a mindset perspective. But we have, I have Poppy and my team that runs our socials. And that's just sort of the stock standard stuff. We're not about profiling Rochelle. We're profiling our clients' homes. They're not spending BPA for us to be my face to be on signboards or anything like that.
Of course.
The power of REA, I believe, is very strong. But obviously, the more properties you sell, the more profile you tend to have. But yeah, everyone's got to start somewhere. There's markets within markets, different demographics as well. So it's a really hard question to actually answer depending on who I'm speaking to.
Yeah, sure.
At the time, but yeah, we do the standard stuff. We do the social media. We'll do some letterbox jobs. But I think relentless.com and open homes is very powerful.
And when you say that you don't really cold prospect, how
meeting too many buyers.
Okay, wow.
Buyers will always, world-class open homes. Be on show, make your smile your business card. It's something I've always is not just aspired to, but also trained very heavily in my team. It is an absolute privilege to be selling, in most cases, people's biggest assets. And how can we do that in the most appropriate way possible, but also humanize it?
So do you put much effort into your team in terms of training them as well? Or do you find people that are guns that can already just go from the get-go?
No, we find the most important thing for me is finding good people. And do they have the qualities that I'm looking for? And then we will train on that. And when I say we, Martin Millard and Martin is a huge part of my business, particularly from a training perspective. And anything in my life, if I wanted to succeed, I've always tried to find somebody that I can also copy off. Does that make sense? It makes things a little bit easier than trying to navigate your way on your own. And yeah, so, we have Monday morning meetings as a team. And then, I'll have individual meetings with the stock inside, the stock outside, the client services team, marketing team.
Yep.
When I say marketing team, one person. And then we just replicate.
Yep.
My business coach, mentor, now principal of Ray White Mitchelton, Martin, has always taught me do more of less better.
Okay.
Stop trying to reinvent the wheel all the time.
Yep.
And do the basics and do the basics well.
We were talking to Dave Walker earlier and he had a good point. He's a numbers man. He's like,
I'm a numbers person.
Yep. Okay.
I'm numbers driven. So my number runs on one business. I won't be revealing what that is on the podcast. But my business runs on one number.
Yep.
And then I re-engineer everything back.
Yep.
To work out, what is our goal? What are the sales we need to get there? What are the listings? What are the appraisals? What are the calls? And it's a nice way to be able to come into work and just work for that one number.
Yeah.
And then everything else will flow.
So how do you measure performance with your team? I'm assuming getting closer to that number, but is it like connects per week? Is it appraisals we deliver? How do you measure performance with your team?
Great question. Obviously appraisals is a really big thing. And, there's what's an appraisal? Great question. There's let's say I've got, these agents with egos that come out and say they've done, 30 appraisals for the week. And then you really, you ask the right questions and they're desktop appraisals. Well, we can all bang those out.
Sure.
So, yeah, it depends on the appraisals. There's different, KPIs for different staff members. But the most important thing is to be nurturing our buyers and our sellers that we've met face to face.
So what would you do if you had to start in a completely new area? We'll put you in Broadbeach and we've got no buyers at the moment. What would be the plan there, do you think, if you had to restart everything? More so for agents coming through going, okay, I'm going to put myself in, let's say, Broadbeach.
I'd do everything I can to get a signboard out the front of someone's house
and
then leverage off that.
Okay.
And I started my career doing a listing for free. A property that was actually on the market. They couldn't sell it on their own, so I took it over. Said they needed to pay for VPA.
Yep. And
then I just leveraged off that.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah. And then you can't do everything. I think the Alex Jordan model, for instance, who's with McGrath, he started by just focusing on 1,000 properties at once instead of taking
too much.
You can't build relationships. My business coach, Martin, has taught me also that, the Dunbar philosophy, where as humans we can actually only deal with about, I think it's like 120 relationships.
Yeah.
At any one time. So, do it really well.
Yep. Yeah.
And then, have people go out there and talk about you. And then, business should come your way.
Agreed. I think that's a big thing is how can you get spoken about in the living room? Whether that be, might be hopefully good things being said. And like, oh, geez, I can't believe that house went for that. Yeah, Rochelle something.
We don't always get it right.
Yep.
There's things that happen along the way, but, you can sleep at night knowing that, you extracted every dollar out because that's what you're employed to do and not to just get the price that the client's wanting. But making sure they have a really great experience along the way. It's scary. Like I said, it's in most cases for us, we're dealing with people's biggest assets. It's a privilege to be chosen to represent them.
Did you get to a point where you're just growing so fast? You go from 0 to 50, 50 to 100, 100 to 150. You go, oh my God, how am I going to keep up with this? Do I want to keep doing this? Is it worth all the hustle and all the hard work?
It's interesting you say that because there seems to be this myth out there that you work harder to do more. Whereas I believe, and again, I've been taught this, I work smarter, not harder. I do more of less better. And I'm actually working less now than what I've ever worked. And yet I'm actually doing more volume. And no one else in my team's going in and doing appraisals. I'm doing the appraisals. I'm doing the listings. I don't have agents underneath me. Does that make sense?
Yeah, for sure.
Like the people I have on my team have got their real estate license, of course.
Yeah.
But they're not out there.
And then how much of that process are you a part of? Are you giving the buyer feedback and
everything?
Yeah.
When I say that I'm across everything, I'll step in as in when required. But they certainly don't want to be listing with me and then hearing from someone else in my team. But, you're not getting me standing in a photocopy machine photocopying 200 flyers.
Okay.
You know, I'm not typing in the open homes into REA.
Yeah.
I'm doing the more productive and higher skill level parts of the real estate journey.
Yeah.
For both a buyer and a seller.
Rochelle, you're ultra successful. Can you tell me, one of our biggest questions we like to ask, and we get many different answers on this, is what's your definition of success? What does it look like for you personally and in business?
Business and personal would both be the same. Yep. And success for me is freedom of choice. To be able to do what I want when I want.
Yep.
So, you know, if I want to, and I stay humble, you know, that's not to say that I go out and buy, you know, expensive things and all the rest. But, you know, if I want to be able to stop and have a holiday, then I can. If I want to buy something else for my children, then I can. If I want to put some money into the stock market, I can.
Yeah.
And having that freedom of choice as to, you know, even little things like if there's nothing on my calendar, then being able to go into work later and not knowing that I have to.
Yeah. Yeah, sure. It's just a choice.
But yeah, and I'm getting to a point in my life too where I'm getting enormous amount of joy from making changes and giving back to my team. Does that make sense?
Yeah, for sure. I think
my language of love is giving.
Yeah.
And I think that works really well with the fact that, you know, I love helping people. And then to be able to help people and have an interest in the real estate industry just work really beautifully together.
Yeah, I feel like it's just how the world goes round. I think I've spoken to a lot of really high performing agents, and they get to the point where they go, okay, I've done what I've probably capped myself, you know, big volume or big sale prices or whatever that is. And now it's my opportunity to give back to more people, to give that runway to them to be successful, to set themselves up. The likes of Matt Lank, I met him a few months ago, and he gave me his framework basically over 8 years and how the first 3 years is going to be pretty brutal.
I'm not sure I can think 8 years ahead.
Fair enough.
On Matt.
Yeah.
But again, a very different model. To what we've got.
Yeah, for sure. Rochelle, I'm so appreciative of your time. Thank you so much for coming on. I think there's some heaps of knowledge that people can take away from this. So, and your first podcast, which is exciting.
Exactly.
Will we see you on more?
I'm not sure. We'll find out if I get a call, right? I don't get any calls then. That was pretty shit.
Love it, Rochelle. Thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome. Not a problem.
Cheers.
Thank you.